What up, guys? That Comic Awesome here doing another review, doing Captain America 107. And get your dislikes ready because I actually liked this. It by no means do I think this was perfect. There were a lot of faults in it, but it was actually a pretty decent story. I have a feeling that if Mark Waid wrote this way and maybe even just kind of polished it up a little bit better, he probably still would be writing Captain America, and we wouldn't have Ta-Nehisi Coates writing Captain America here in a couple months. So after the far distant dystopian future of 2025, now we do take a time jump into, I think, the 24th century. And all of Steve Rogers' dreams, hopes and dreams have become reality. Captain America became, the force for good, and good won out. So, yay. But where we start off on this story is actually kind of interesting and goes into a little foreshadowing. So you start off in this, in France in 1944, obviously in the prime of the World War II, and Captain America doing what Captain America does, fighting real Nazis and hitting women, apparently, in scantily clad outfits. I enjoyed this part. One of the German spies was smuggling out a sample of, I guess Steve Rogers' blood or some form of the super soldier serum that they were trying to smuggle back to Germany out of France. So it was up to Bucky and Cap to kind of stop them. I do like the art in this issue. Then there's this line right here. As long as we're at war, the super soldier formula is our nation's most valuable asset. So right here in this little vial is our national treasure, essentially, to keep us safe, to keep America safe. And I do like the fact that Mark Waid even, you got to have a border. You got to have a border to protect something that you need to secure anyway. So it turns out that this is just a vision, a story being told by a father to his son, and this turns out to be Steve's great grandson and great grandson. So this is his great grandson and great grandson. Yes. They are in the hospital. His great grandson is sick, and we come to find out why, and that is where we get into the meat and potatoes of this story and what makes it interesting. Jack Rodgers leaves little Steve Rogers, and he says to the doctor, he's like, what's the news? What's going on with my son? Just like any father who had a terminally ill kid, you're gonna want answers from the doctor, and they kind of keep giving him the runaround that, we've tried giving him, they just say the formula, and you kind of assume at this point, and even says, he's a Rogers, you both are ancestors from the first most successful recipient ever. We still can't explain why your son is so sick. So they're trying to give him the super soldier serum, but his body seems to be rejecting it. And obviously Jack Rodgers doesn't like this news, and he's like, I'm going to take this all the way up to the president. So then you get this other kind of scene, which as I opened this up before I started this video and kind of glazed over what I want to talk about, this page really stuck out to me as something wrong. Something very wrong. We're now in I'll even say a utopian future, not even dystopian. We're in a utopian future where everything looks peaceful. and we're in America, but you would assume that in a utopian type future that you're trying to portray, that there was some sort of now world government. Usually there is in like a future state, and this and that. But it says here, make war no more, Americans and Cree ally. So that makes me wonder, did America wall itself off from the rest of the world and make a secret alliance with the Cree to kind of protect that? Or did America make an alliance with the Cree and then kind of bring the world into America? Either way, it seems a little shady. He talks, you kind of get this overview of Jack Rodgers, and he's like, in America, where the Bill of Rights is as sacred as the Bible, where total equality and prosperity and evidence everywhere, which, again, a lot of people will probably look at this and be like, socialism is the best. The ending of this book negates everything you see here, which, again, makes this a very, it makes this an intriguing book. But another thing is, it comes out that the Captain America turned out to be not only the greatest hero, but he was a resource. So essentially, once he died, they dissected his remains and removed the existing super soldier serum from within his dead, lifeless body, and then reverse engineered it, and then pretty much gave it out to everyone. The formula no longer makes you a superhero material, but it's as common vaccine as a vaccine, or as vaccines once were, and universally compatible with all genders, ethnicities. Everyone benefits. I don't know why you had to add in genders and ethnicities. I'm pretty sure, the flu vaccine, works on men and women of all, everywhere. Anyway, at least when it works, flu vaccine's probably a bad one. Any vaccine. I don't think you get a vaccine and it's like, whoa. You're a lady, this is a man's vaccine. This ain't gonna work for you. Again, this is Mark Waid putting just his little signature in the book. I can look past that because, again, the story is still there. So you meet the president, and you find out that Jack is a historian, and as a historian, it kind of gives him a national historian. It gives him a little right and a little clout, and of course he has American, Captain America lineage. The president's right hand is this general, General McIseem Shady. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a more hey, I'm the villain. Look at me. I got a clean bald head, and I'm mean looking. So then you kind of get this other flashback of Steve doing some Captain America stuff in the 60s. But essentially, it's filler, but it's essentially just here to say that Jack needs to kind of blend in. But in this, you find out that this little lens that can project stories is not just projecting stories. The Time Stone was destroyed in the Stark War 3. So there were 3 Stark Wars. And the shards of it were cobbled together into these lenses. And as a historian, you get this lens, and that allows you to see the past. You can't interact, but you can see. But what it else can do is allow you to see brief moments in time in the vicinity around you. As Jack digs, he finds out that the super soldier serum that is being given to everyone is not as secured as the general would like. So the Steve wanted to go to the president to have access to the formula. The general says no. Jack tries to sneak into the office. What he finds is that the general had given the formula to the Kree, not given the formula, but allowed the Kree to alter it. Pretty much everyone who receives the formula becomes like a sleeper Kree agent of sorts. So again, it's very intriguing how this is going to turn out. This isn't really, again, it doesn't have a lot of like Captain America in it, but I mean, Jack seems like a pretty cool guy. Like, he's not a superhero, and I think that's what's going to lend maybe this last arc to being something kind of special. So yeah, I liked it. You know, it's not the popular opinion. That's a hot take. You know, but sue me. Subscribe over here. Watch some more videos. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you next time.